and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be sharing tips on how to secure a full-time return offer from an internship. This video will be geared towards investment banking since that was my own experience, but rest assured, even if you are in a different industry, most, if not all, of these tips will apply to you. So first off, if you have an internship coming up this summer, congratulations. You might feel a little nervous or even excited about this internship. You might be concerned about things that I was concerned about, which are return rates for groups. Getting a return full-time offer from an internship really varies from firm to firm, group by group, and even year by year based on the company and the department's needs. But that's not what you should be focusing on. You shouldn't be focusing on the return rate of the group because that's something that's beyond your control. Focus on how to get that offer because no matter what, they're going to give someone an offer. Usually, I'd say it ranges from 40 to 90% of how many offers they'll give to their interns to return back for full-time jobs. So follow these tips and you will be in a good spot. So number one, ultimately what's really important is to do good work. Easier said than done, but people do notice when someone is a fast learner, has good work ethic, and just overall produces accurate, reliable work. It's especially important to set this tone at the beginning of your internship. After all, it's probably only 2 months long and first impressions matter. It's important to set a reputation for yourself. When you first join, people won't trust you with the work you're doing. You're going to have to build up on that trust, and you only have about 2 months to do so. So you should try to do so right from the start rather than in the middle. Show them that you can do the simple tasks that they're giving you initially correctly before they can give you more meaningful work beyond that. So a few suggestions I have for producing good work and how you can prepare for that. First is to quadruple check all of your work. Yes, it's important to send things across in a timely manner, but remember that if you have mistakes in your work, you're just going to end up getting comments and end up having to do even more work and wasting whoever's checking your work's time. So any mistakes that you're able to catch from an additional 15 to 20 minutes of thoroughly checking your work and fixing any mistakes will do you well. Something that people told me is that a first draft can be nearly just as good as the last draft, so aim for that. Just because it's the first draft doesn't mean that it needs to have a bunch of mistakes in it and it needs to be bad. Second suggestion on producing good work is to leave a traceable trail of everything that you're doing. What I mean by this is that if you're asked to come up with 5 data points and find them, make sure that you have links to all of them. If you found them from some PDF file, make sure that that PDF file is saved down in a folder. Be organized, and when someone asks you where this number is from, they can easily find themselves, or you can send it across quickly rather than taking 2 hours to find where you even got this number from that you did a week ago. It's going to show the people that you're working with that you're responsible, that you're organized, and it'll also save them time as well, and they'll be happy. And thirdly, to the extent you can, there's actually a lot of preparation that you can do ahead of your internship in terms of technicals. Just speaking from the point of view of investment banking, these internships oftentimes have case studies for their interns. These case studies usually have a pretty big impact on your return offer, and the case study will generally consist of doing a practice deck and having a practice meeting with a company. So you'll usually have to do comparable company analysis, present transactions, DCF, merger model, LBO, the full gamut of valuation methods. And a lot of interns join not knowing anything about it, and as a result, they struggle. Why they struggle? It's because they end up having to do work on top of this case study that they already have. And if you don't already have any background on what you're doing, it's going to be a lot more difficult because you're going to have to learn it during the internship while you're doing this work. So prior to the internship, make sure you at least understand these concepts and how to go through it, even if you're not practicing modeling. I've talked about this company before, Financial Edge. They're the company that trains new hires who go into investment banking, and they've actually offered their courses online. They have a course called the Investment Banker that basically walks you through everything that you need for this case study. Everything that I mentioned before, from accounting to different valuation methods to just financial concepts overall. If you want to get ahead of the game, Try it out. They have a few free courses on their website, as well as the investment banker pack, as well as packs for asset management, sales and trading, so on and so forth. Use my code Angela25 for 25% off. It's quite a lot. I'll include the link down in the description box below. Feel free to ask me if you have any other questions on that. Speaking of questions, tip number 2 is to not be afraid to ask questions. But, and I really mean but, always make sure that you do your own research first. Check the internet, Google it, and if that doesn't work, ask another intern before you ask a full-timer. Obviously, don't be afraid to get more clarity on the layout of a page or what you're supposed to do for your task. But if you're asking a really small technical thing, like how do you get this line off the page? Why is this color showing up weirdly? Do not ask those. Figure it out yourself, because those are just small technical things that are going to annoy the full-timers that you're working with if you ask them to figure it out for you. When you're asking a question, show that you've done the homework first. Show that you've looked online and this is what Google is saying. You've asked other interns and you're still not sure. Show that at least you put some sort of effort into it before asking someone else. Make sure that you don't just lazily reach out to someone asking for help when you haven't done the research first. Always help yourself. It'll make things a lot easier and quicker for whoever is trying to help you. Also, if you do ask something and it's still not clear, don't be afraid to ask a follow-up question. What I will say though, when you're asking a follow-up, is to don't just say that you don't understand. State specifically what you did understand from this and ask them targeted questions on exactly what you need clarity on. Additionally, the questions that people love during internships are big picture questions. People love it when you ask about the process and are interested in the work that they're doing. It shows that you have passion and enthusiasm and a genuine interest in the internship that you're doing. It definitely takes some time to figure out what questions are good to ask and what questions are not. Tip number 3 is to form close relationships. I'm not saying become best buddies with the entire group, but you want to find at least one intern to become close with and at least one full-time person. So for the intern, this intern can now be like your buddy. This is someone you can ask them questions to, ask about other intern events that are coming up so that you don't miss anything. Someone who you can have lunch with or dinner with while in the office. Also, by being close with the other interns, it shows the group that you're someone who can get along well with others, who would fit in well with this group. And so it's always a plus to try to become friends with the other interns or at least close with one other person. They'll also be like a support system because they're going through the exact same experience as you, and it'll make your process honestly a lot more easy. Next, you also want to form a personal relationship with a full-time employee as well. Full-time employees have a lot more insight on the group. They can give you information and advice and tips. They've probably seen their fair share of summer interns come and go, and so they know what makes a good summer intern. This person can be someone you're working with, someone you found that you have a good bond with in the group, or someone who's in a very respectable position who everyone respects and likely will have more leverage when it comes to choosing who to give offers out to. If this is someone who you work with, make sure to ask them for feedback, ask them how they think you're doing. People always appreciate it when you ask for informal feedback because it shows that you're growing and you're willing to learn and learn from your mistakes. Number 4, keep up the communication. This one is super important, especially from a virtual environment. When you're given a task and you're working with someone a level above you, for example, an analyst, make sure that you're letting them know exactly when you think you'll be done, how much you finish, what you have left. This is a process of building trust. By doing this, they'll know whether you have the task or whether you have no idea what you're doing and this will never be completed on time. Make sure to let them know that you're on top of the task that you've been given and that you're working on it. When people email you, make sure that you respond accordingly and respond in a quick manner. This internship is only 2 weeks long, so try to be the best version of yourself in terms of communication. Try your best to underpromise and overdeliver. For example, tell them that it'll take you 5 hours, but you actually finish it in 3. Set expectations accordingly and you will succeed. Number 5 is to be proactive and look for ways to add value. This is something that's super important and often comes back at the end of intern reviews. People talk about who they felt was the most willing to help, who was the most proactive, who was the most enthusiastic. and that's always a super positive trait of any intern. So what I mean by this is someone who will actively take detailed notes during a meeting and send it around to the group. Someone who will offer to do small things like send the meeting invite out so that the other members of the team don't have to read through the whole thing. Whenever a task comes through, even if it seems like it's not for you or not something that you know about, ask the analyst how you can help them. For me personally, I never left the office until I was explicitly told that I wouldn't need to be there and that I couldn't help anymore. Otherwise, I would always stay and try to help out in any way I can. You're part of the team, and if the rest of the team is staying there, you should be as well to offer support. You want to be someone who's there to add value, even though you have less experience. Show that you're willing to help, because this really showcases and tells people what you'll be like when you're a full-timer. And lastly, networking. You might have thought you were done with networking after getting this internship, but no, you are not. So I'm not saying talk to everyone in the company, grab coffee with everyone, but it does make a difference. At the end of the internship, the entire group gathers and talks about all of the interns. People can openly give feedback. And so if you're grabbing coffee and making personal relationships with a good number of people, that's just more people who will pull for you. During these informal coffee chats, try to get to know the person, form an actual genuine connection with them, and show that you're someone who they can potentially see themselves working with in the future. These are all the tips I have for you guys on securing an offer after an internship. In general, just be friendly, be polite, be respectful, and follow these tips, and you'll honestly be in a really good spot to get a return offer. For more tips in finance preparation, check out my Patreon. My patrons actually had a really big part in helping me choose to film this video, so thank you to them for that. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching my video. Please remember to give it a big thumbs up if you did find it helpful. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell to turn on notifications so you'll know whenever I post a new video. See you guys in the next one. Bye!